Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. So let's talk about this stuff that we're going to talk about today. What do you think about that idea? I really love this whole idea of a paradox because, honestly, life is a paradox, isn't it? It's never what you think it is. It's always what starts happening in your life. I will tell you, this is something that I've really been thinking about a lot, especially if you were here for yesterday. We talked about how wise women are deliberate in their practice, because what we found is just practicing isn't enough. Without that deliberate attempt, we lose ground and we get bored and we stop doing it. So if we're going to develop true habits that stick, then we're going to do it in a way that is very mindful and is going to help those habits to stick. Because honestly, can we just admit that's exactly what we're all working on every and all days? It's true. Nobody does it like that. Nobody just has it. But you know what the conundrum with this whole thing is? You know what the paradox in the whole thing is? It's that the disciplined are the ones who become free. Now you think about freedom for a minute. Think about freedom. The paradox of freedom is that you have tons and tons of time. But the paradox of freedom also is that it's too easy when you have so much time and you think you can do it later, and you don't think that you have to have it done at a certain time. And therefore, what happens? The time gets frittered away. And the next thing you know, it's the end of the day and you're going, oh my gosh, I haven't done the very thing that I needed to get done. So what is the answer to all of that? Well, the answer is focus. Focus is one of the most important, best ways for us to get on top of things that we need to get, not just get done, but also get achieved, get accomplished, and have. It always works. It works wonderfully that way. James Clear, again, a hero of mine, he wrote Atomic Habits, great book. And he said, the disciplined become free. That's a good one to write down. The disciplined become free. If you have a tough time managing your time, of course, we do have the time block sheets. You can find those at savingdinner.com/time. They're free. You can download as many and you download it once, make as many copies as you want. I think that it's a fabulous tool to have. As a matter of fact, go there, get that, and download like 10 copies so that you have it and you can pull them out at any time. Time blocking sheets essentially just give you a capsule and a big picture analysis of what the heck, where the heck your time is going and what the heck is going on with your time. It's a wonderful way for you to make the connections between what happened today and knowing, oh my gosh, there it is right there. There's where it all went. And I believe too that, if we just carry on every day without restraint and just keep doing the same things that we just keep doing and still having that same degree of dissatisfaction with what we've done with our days, then we'll find ourselves in the place of just thinking, is that all there is? You remember that what was that name of that movie? Is that all there is? Wine and Roses or something like that. I remember Jack Lemmon was in it. Old movie. And I will tell you right now that this paradox of freedom lies in channeling and focusing your energy on the thing that you want instead of going all over the place. Life becomes a game of 52 card pickup. You remember that how you used to play that with your kids? You'd say, "Hey, you want to play 52 card pickup? How do you play that?" And you take a deck of cards and just all over the ground. That's how it feels sometimes when we are not focused on the things that we need to not just to get accomplished, but actually to achieve. There's a difference. We need to check things off the list, but we also want to become and achieve. And to become and achieve requires a focus. It requires focus. So yesterday, as we talked about deliberate focus and how it reels us in from freedom and giving up, we also understand that, piggybacking further on that, focus is the switch that creates the energy for the deliberate practice. That's an important thing to look at, because what is it that's going to create this deliberate practice? Focus. Focus is the thing that's going to do it. Think about how a magnifying helps you to focus on something. Think about something kind of cruel that maybe you did as a kid, is that you focused your magnifying glass on an ant with the sun and you smoke up the ant. I think I never did that, but of course I saw kids do that. I always thought it was very cruel and awful. But that's what the focus does. And we can burn through things like that, much like the magnifying lens burned through that poor unfortunate ant on the sidewalk in front of my house. We can do that if only we get our concentration and our focus directed. So focus, so think about this and how this focus creates freedom. If you're focused on form and getting in the reps that you need to get in, if you're strength training and the weight that it needs to be, and you're practicing your deliberate practice, and you're actually writing the weights down so that you can see the progress, right? So that you can see how you're doing, so that you have a real true measurement of what's what. Then what happens? You get to create physical freedom, because the stronger you are, the better off you're going to be. Do you know the one dreadful thing? Listen, it's super interesting. Do you know one of the reasons why people end up in rest homes is because they can't get themselves off the toilet anymore. Their leg muscles are so weak. This is why I think Nancy's doing it, but I offered an idea to do a squat challenge of doing 20 to 30 squats every single day. 20 to 30 squats. We can do it. Just think about almost getting your butt down into a chair, but getting back up before you get your butt in the chair. And being able to get up and out of a chair without using your arms. If you have to use your arms to get out, that's telling you that you're, there you go. There you go. Nancy's doing it. It's a small, simple thing. And for advanced users, do jump squats. And I wouldn't advise this for people who have knees, but I do 20 jump squats in the morning. And it's just a simple down and up and down and just gently jumping. It adds just a little bit more. You could do it on your rebounder, by the way. You can use your rebounder for all of this, but all of these things help you have physical freedom, because physical freedom is what's going to keep you out of rest homes, ladies. I mean, we underestimate. I shared with you Bill Phillips' story about he had did I share this yesterday? I think I did. Look at Jocelyn. She's doing 60 squats a day. That's fantastic. But here's the thing that we need to look at. Bill Phillips, who had COVID, CNN did a story on him. He wrote a book called Body for Life. And it was his second time with COVID, and the doctor said if he hadn't had the muscle that he had on his body, he would have died. He had that was at our staff meeting, you're right. He had less than 1% chance of making it. He's in his 50s, less than 1% chance of making it. It was his body that saved him. He lost 70 pounds of muscle in the hospital. He was intubated for 43 days. Intubated. Ventilator on his belly with a ventilator. And had he not had that muscle, he would have died. Yes, he lost it all in the hospital. He looked absolutely decrepit and ancient when he got out. You should see him now. You can find him, Bill Phillips, Body for Life. Just go find him on Facebook, see his story and everything. Absolutely, man of faith too, by the way. Absolutely amazing. And he's got a message about taking care of your body. And he's not, after this, he's not messing around anymore. And he's calling it out. And what I have, and this is what I shared in our staff meeting yesterday. And I'm going to start sharing. You're going to start hearing more and more about this. We've got to start focusing on our muscle and less on our fat. If we focus on our muscle and building that, the fat will take care of itself. I'm sick of all of it. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of, well, I weighed this and let me just tell you this right now. Okay. Time out here. I love you. I care about you, but don't freak out about them. Can we stop freaking out about the scale? Pinkies up. Can we stop it with all of this size nonsense? And instead, if we want to go after our greatest asset, which is our health, because this is the vehicle for our lives, the thing we need to start thinking about is our physicality. Can you get up out of a chair without using your hands? Can you? If you can't, then you start working on that. Start the squat challenge, start everything, because that equals physical freedom. Let me ask you, is there anyone here who wants to have their child say to you, you can't, Mom, we're going to have to put you in a nursing home or assisted living because you can't get, I used to say this to my mother all the time. Mom, I want you to be strong. My mom was tall and thin, osteoporosis, unfortunately. And then that's, what hastened her death. I've shared that story. But I kept asking her, Mom, you've got to get strong. We've got to get you doing. I had her doing, water bottles for a while with whatever. But, I got her on the floor and said, Mom, I need you to stand up from the floor. Get up from the floor. She couldn't without my help. And she was in her 70s. This is years ago. These are indicators of how strong we are and how we're going to do. This is a red flag to you, and it's a taking away of your physical freedom if you don't have the muscle to be able to live your life. If you can't get off the toilet, you're going to an assisted living home, by the way. If you can't get up off the floor, here we go. It's time. If you're going to join me for this, I'm just throwing this out. This is just completely spur of the moment. 20 squats a day. It says like up and down, 4-minute workouts, 3-4-minute workouts a day. Are you in? Pinkies up if you're in. We're talking about freedom here, people. Freedom. Physical freedom equals freedom for your life. Otherwise, you're going somewhere against your will, maybe. I remember telling my mom, having that conversation with her. She did not want to do it. I couldn't. There was nothing else I could do. Nothing else I could do. I got to the place where I could not take care of her anymore. It became so overwhelming. Even with hospice coming in, my business suffered like you would not believe. I was not there. I was always with her. She was always calling. She always needed something. And I get that, and I understand that, and her breathing was hard, and she was scared, and it was a lot. But the physicality of the whole thing, a lot of this could have been prevented. A lot of these things, as far as read about osteoporosis and reversing that, go read it on the internet. Is it possible? You tell me. Go do some research and find out. To save your bones, you save your muscles. And you save your muscles, you save your bones. It's that simple. And these are the things that we need to do. So start today. Okay? Yeah, pinkies up. Focus is also on saving. What does that help you do? It helps you to save money. If you're focused on saving and you're dropping X amount of dollars in your IRA every month, guess what? You're going to see that little nest egg grow, aren't you? You're going to see that thing grow. This is what happens. This is what happens. And when we focus on learning, what do we get? We have intellectual freedom. We are no longer being led around by memes on Facebook. Good grief. Some of the garbage that we believe and buy into are generated by bots. They're not even real people. And these people that people argue with, these trolls, bots. Not even real people. Do you know, I saw a thing, was on 60 Minutes, and they were talking about how artificial intelligence now makes these conglomerate faces of people that aren't even real people. They just put stuff together to make a person, and that person is the meme or the avatar for this made up person who lives somewhere in Michigan, and they really don't. They're in Romania somewhere, and they're bots, and it's all AI. So I say artificial intelligence, maybe so, but let's not we need to be intellectually smart and learning at all time. And when we are the ones learning and we're finding out about things, we're not duped. We're not brought in by this meme or this Facebook post or whatever. The amount of false information that's out there is mind boggling. We've all been pulled in, all of us. Not one hasn't. Not one. And I can't tell you how many things people have sent me. And this is the thing that we need to know. In order to achieve this intellectual achievement, we have to be readers. We have to be watching intelligent programming on television. We have to be, we have to stop all the stuff and all the fighting and all the other stuff. And social media is not a good place for your information, by the way. It's just not. Social media, I think we lost our purpose with social media. It used to be in community and to share pictures and to be loving and lifting each other up. Well, you can if you choose that track. And to me, that's intellectual freedom, because we know if we want to grow and develop, then we need to do things that help us to grow and to develop. And I will say that hanging out here with all of our lovelies from the Hot Melt Sprint group, that's a good way to do it. Okay. We have to look at that a purposeful use of time, deliberate practice, and consequent results are all a part of focus. That's what focus does. And isn't that, if I'm not mistaken, Joanne, isn't that your word of the year? Focus? I think so. Yep. Oh, Lizzie, you're so right. No one does research anymore. We assume they are correct. The other thing that you have to understand too with research, there's a lot of biased research out there. You got to follow the money and see, who's funding it. There's a lot of garbage out there, and that includes in nutrition too. A lot of crazy stuff. So we focus by directing and redirecting or creating something that checks the boxes of our attention, because that's what focus is. I told you about that poor unfortunate ant, but let me tell you about you as a human. When we are engaged with one of our five senses, we are that much more engaged. It helps. It brings things into play. It helps us to understand things. So, number one, when we see, let's use our vision. What do we see? We see our vision board. We see our journals. Maybe, do you have one of these? Do you have one of your journals here? I do. I was working on my journal today and working in there starting with three things to be grateful for. That is a great focus, by the way, gratitude. It's a fabulous focus because it lifts the veil of all the darkness that's out there. And it shows and gives you a little spotlight into how lovely really your life is. I love that. And Take Back Your Life journals are fabulous because they help us to keep focus, because they're required to be in there daily. So when you take this, you pick it up and you look at it and you're seeing your daily planner right here. You start with three things that you're grateful for. And then you write your intention out for the day, depending on what your goal is. And you see that. And then you write your goals out in your little cheapo dollar store journals. And you start to see those things happen because your focus is on that, because you just wrote about it. See how we just looped that and closed that circle? It's incredible. It's what we see. It's what we write, because we're experiencing that. It's our vision board that's right there underneath my clock. It is those journal entries. It's using my lovely quote deck right here. And we got the little wooden stands that the quote sits on, and it's there looking at me all day. When we're seeing something, we're changing our mind. It puts our focus over onto that. Number two, we hear it as well. And I'm going to tell you something. One of the most powerful things that I've done, I've shared this with you before, is I made voice memos of things that I wanted to achieve, things that I wanted to see happen. I had a vibrant vision for a house on the water with a boat dock and the whole bit. And here I am. I shared that with you on almost a year ago when we closed. And we have a video of me just kind of going crazy, like a crazy lady. We just closed. This is our house. I can't believe it. Blah, blah, blah. You know, because it was a year ago. It's hard to believe, but it's almost been a year. And that was imperative. What I did beforehand, I wrote about this house in my journals. I visioned this house in my vision board. And then I spoke to myself about this. And I even said my own name, because we hear that, by the way. That's part of the hearing thing. That's another part of your hearing. It focuses your prefrontal cortex. And that's the most complex part of your brain. That's the part that is able to do the abstract thinking and to see all the many layers and conceptualize exactly what it is. This is the most developed part of our brain. And then, you know, rather than living off the monkey brain, we can live off of our prefrontal cortex and start making sense of the world. And our senses help us. The vision thing is a big deal. And seeing all of that. And then when you hear it and you hear your name, you automatically pay attention to your name, whether it's you saying it or someone else, by the way. But your name is unique and uniquely yours, and you uniquely hear it, by the way. So high-fiving yourself after a workout and way to go, Leanne, and, you know, boom yourself right in the mirror, whatever. But look yourself in the eyeball and do this. I know it sounds crazy, but it is super effective and it changes your body's chemistry. And as we change all of that stuff, my goodness, look at how that feels. Lucy said something really good. Reading out loud helps too. One of the things that I have done with books that I really want to get ingrained, and I do this with Joe. Why can't I think of his name? Oh, I can't believe this. Dr. Joe Dispenza and his books. I listen to them on Audible and I read them at the same time because mind blowing. I did the biology of belief that way because I wanted it into my understanding. You know, when Bruce Lipton said that 95% of us live our lives on autopilot each and every day, I said, that's fine for cleaning my bathroom, but I don't want to be living my life on autopilot with Mark. I don't want to be living my life on autopilot with my kids or with you. I want to be present. I want to be invested. I want a relationship. You know, that's completely different. So when he said that, I paid attention, and I paid attention to that book and became a devourer of that book. And it changed my mind because it changed my understanding of what the brain is about and how we can bring about all these different things. It's just so incredible. We can also feel it. You know, I've got to look what I have here, right? Yeah, use a rubber band. You can use a rubber band to remind yourself to stop a bad habit. I mean, I did that a long time ago. When I used to bite my nails as a kid, stop me from biting my nails. I just pull the rubber band. And I pull the rubber band if I start to delay, just because it is a attention grabber. And I'm not snapping the rubber band so I've got a big mark and going, yowza. You know, I'm not doing that. It's just a reminder. You can also, the kitchen's closed. We've done that, right? If you want to stop snacking, hey, Leanne, the kitchen's closed. You're telling yourself something and you're repeating out loud. It is worthwhile. It trains and retrains what your focus needs to be about. You can do that with taste. As you're eating your delicious, healthy meal, you can say, this tastes delicious. The time invested in the kitchen was well worth it. I'm so proud of myself for eating like this. High five, Leanne. You know, once again, right back into that whole thing. Same with the smells. I mean, you know what Thanksgiving smells like, right? If I just said, what does Thanksgiving smell like? You'd say, it smells like my mom's. It smells like, I can smell the dressing. I can smell the turkey gravy cooking. I can smell the cranberries being made, you know, whatever, or the pies baked, whatever. You have certain smells that we also identify. And I would also go a step further and say it's also available for us to stop and smell the roses, because sometimes our focus just needs to be on slowing down. And our focus needs to be on appreciation and loving what we have right now. That's what we need to do. But we engage our senses. That's part of our focus. And what I know is this, that where your intention goes, that's where your energy flows. So if you've made a decision that you're going to get all wrapped up in the negativity of a situation or person or whatever, then that's where your attention's going to go. And I will tell you right now, it's a stagnant journey, right down into the pit. And it has absolutely nothing to do with what you want in your growth as a human being. It won't help you. The only thing that you can do out of that big mess is to sort out and find the lesson that you need from it and put it in the experience file and then move along, little girl. Because honestly, staying focused on that is going to drive your energy right into a big old hole. Big hole. So the more we focus on something, the more we're going to get of it. So if we're focused on the negative, there it is, right there. That's why I say bring you back to your senses. This is going to help you to check the box and to check the box and to check the box. It was amazing. It was amazing. And it was more amazing to do this and to see how the clarity of such a focus can completely change everything. And, I'll share this later, but I've been working on my new goals for what I want in 2022. Yeah, it's time. It's time to get ready for that. And I have slightly new, very more specific focuses. I'll share that another time. But it's very interesting how we expand, and this, what you focus on expands, right? And what you dwell upon soon becomes your destiny. So if what we want is all wrapped up in your goals and all wrapped up in this focus, you're going to get there. Sometimes a little less is more. We have the ability, by the way, at any time to focus on exactly what it is that we want and to reject the other stuff that we don't want, believe it or not. Because I think oftentimes we think that we're being led around by our nostrils, but we're not. So you get more by focusing on less too. You understand that too. That's another paradox of focus, because focus means a point of concentration. You can't do that multitasking. The only multitaskers in your house are things that I call the indentured servants. You've got your dishwasher, you got your washing machine, you've got your, what else? You got an oven, crock pot, whatever. It's not been unusual that I'd have them all going at one time. And that to me is the ultimate expression of multitasking. And I'm very grateful, very grateful. So here's what we need to do to get focused. I'm going to give you some things. Let me see what I have here. I've got 5 things that are going to help. You ready? Number 1, you need to have a brain dump and get all of it out on paper. And when I say a brain dump, I'm saying get it all out. Sort it later, but just get it out. Let it just be this random thing. It's like when I sit down to make like a grocery list for something, a project, dinner or a dinner party that I'm doing, I'll dump it all down, every bit of it, just onto a piece of paper, and I'm sending Mark to the grocery store or something like that. Then second pass is I'll go through and I will go through and I'll categorize them just ever so slightly so that all of my produce is together, all my dairies together, all of my, etc., meat, etc., is together. Makes sense, right? Makes it easier. But what this does is it frees up space in your head so that you're not going, oh, but I've got to do this. Oh, and then I got to do that and this and that and this and that. We do that. That's what happens. We ping pong all over our heads, just like a pinball game. And, I don't know about you, but I'm not a pinball wizard. I'm not real good at this. So we got to get rid of that, dump it all down, put it on paper, sort it later, but just get it out there so you can have some room to think. Number 2, multitasking. Remember, who's that for? Indentured servants only. You are not a multitasker. Let your indentured servants do that work. The other thing is, and also think about this, we have to think about our thinking, and then we have to apply our thinking to our focusing. And that just, all that means is that once we've done this brain dump stuff, then we have the ability to think, and then we have the ability to say, yes, this is what I want to do. This is where I want my focus to go, or not, depending on what it is after we sort the brain dump list. Number 3, what do you want to achieve rather than what do you want to get done? Ooh, this is a good one, because, what do you want to achieve? And here's the difference on that one. Do you want to just clean up the kitchen? Well, that's a task. That's a task. That's different. Or do you want to start creating systems like mise en place? Mise en place means everything in its place, so that you pull everything out that you need to cook your meal. And then you reverse mise en place so that you can put it all back. And it's easy that way. I do this every single time. When I cook, what I do is I pull it all out, including your cutting board, your everything that that you're going to need, the saucepan to cook in, and the food. And then as I use the food, I put it all in one place, so that it's just like opening up the refrigerator and going boom, 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 boom. It all goes back, instead of boing, 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 boing. Not necessary. You don't need to do that. What you need to do, and what the important thing to do, is being able to stay concentrated on what it is that you want to do. Because what you want to do is to create a system so that you're not having to constantly remind yourself to clean up the kitchen. It becomes part of what you do. You have a system for it. Number 4 is create big projects instead of huge task lists. Okay, so here's an example. Say you're going to say you want to clean out the garage, and the garage is just a disaster. How are you going to do that? A lot of times what happens is, let's just clean out the garage and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes that works. But if you create it into an event, invite people to participate in it, people will show up properly dressed, for a big clean out. You make a list of the supplies that you'll need. You'll need big trash bags and boxes for donations, and make a plan. What are we going to do with all this stuff? Do we need hooks to hang ladders up on the walls and bicycles and such? Do we need storage containers? What do we need? It forces you out of this, let's just get this thing cleaned up, to actually making a plan. And then the tasks come along easily, because you're thinking already in terms of, what are we going to do with these bikes? We're going to hang them on the wall. What are we going to do with all these random Christmas stuff everywhere? We're going to put them all in containers and stash them in certain colored containers all over here. One of the things that I used to do is I'd have them numbered, 1 through 5. This is when I had all that stuff. I don't anymore, but I used to have huge containers of Christmas stuff, and I got rid of a ton of it, but they were numbered 1 through 5, and I had 3x5 cards that had an inventory of what they were. That was Emily Barnes who taught me how to do that. Anybody remember Emily Barnes? I wonder what she's doing now. But she had all these organized things. She was just lovely woman, very, very sweet lady. But that's exactly what you do with this kind of thing. And the tasks come along easily once you've got the big stuff. Because number 5 is, you have to focus on the framework. The framework is the thing that gets you through any project, just like a puzzle. You've got to look at the big picture first. That's the top of the puzzle piece. You got to put the edges down. That's the framework. And then you just keep, after that, it's easy to keep going, because it's set up. So the paradox is moving boldly in the direction that you want, but it becomes easier as you put the framework down that needs to happen for the focus to be able to get in there and get it done. Boy, did we go late today. I hope you enjoyed that. I love doing this stuff, by the way. I hope it was helpful. And I'm here for you if you need me, by the way. Peace be with you.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.